Welcome back to my channel. I'm Traben. These are my tomes, and in today's video, did you know that Super Sentai was ending after 50 years on the air? Let's talk about it. Last week, we got the news from Sankei Shimbun and the Kyoto News Agency that after 50 years, the long-running tokusatsu show Super Sentai was going to be ending. And it was rather cryptic. It wasn't quite clear what that meant. It immediately split the fan base into a number of different groups. So we had the people who were basically denying that this was true, that it was a translation error, and that that's not really what they meant. That was quickly kind of eliminated by all the former actors coming out and talking about how proud they were to be part of this tradition that has been going on so long and is now coming to a close. So definitely something is happening with the Super Sentai label, the show, the trademark. We're still kind of in a wait and see at the moment. Some people think that this is going to be a simple rebranding, so that basically they'll rename it something else. It'll remain Super Sentai in all but name, but it will allow Toei to get out of some of their contracts with the stateside stuff with Power Rangers, so that they can do the simultaneous streams like they're doing with Kamen Rider right now, and they can get back into deals with places like Shout Factory to have their stuff streaming and get DVD releases stateside. So that's kind of the hope, the most positive reaction to it. Others feel like this might be a shift to bringing back something like the Metal Heroes series, which is kind of a third defunct tokusatsu show that was airing on, I think, Saturdays or Sundays in that normal block, but hasn't been on the air in a very long time. Some of the Metal Heroes in recent years have shown up in some of the Sentai and Kamen Rider crossover movies, so there's some legitimacy to that theory as well. Latest news I just saw is one of the official affiliate channels, I think out of Thailand, released a thing, showed that the new labeling was something like Universal Heroes or Universe Heroes, and some people have some theories on what that is supposed to represent. There may be some legitimate reasons why they are kind of shutting down this one line of shows. The sales, I had always heard, versus Kamen Rider have been very poor. I didn't realize how bad it was until someone recently posted a chart basically showing the total toy sales, Kamen Rider versus Super Sentai, and the vast difference between those two. And at the end of the day, these are shows aimed at children to make money from the toy sales. So I understand the kind of drive in recent years to make Super Sentai to kind of push the boundaries of that storytelling, of the storytelling conventions they've run into, and now to decide to move on to something else. In any case, this long-running series that a lot of people grew up with and are very passionate about, and that I learned through Power Rangers as a kid, is coming to an end. I'm here to do my part as your booktube friend and recommend you some books to tide you over in these difficult times of no longer having Super Sentai. So these are some tomes you should try, Super Sentai edition. We're going to start with the things that are most like Super Sentai, and then we'll gradually transition to things that are maybe not as close, but still have some of those elements. So let's get the most obvious thing out of the way first. There is a rather long-running and quite well-known run of Power Rangers helmed by Kyle Higgins that dealt with things like the Power Grid and introduced Drakon, the evil version of Tommy from another dimension. There were lots of different cool ideas in here. A lot of Ranger on Ranger fights. and some really dark concepts as well. I mean, in this continuity, Billy, the Blue Ranger, wears his suit at all times because he is paranoid of getting hurt. He is so worried about danger and being susceptible that he even sleeps basically transformed at all times. So some really cool concepts explored here. If you've never read these runs before, I think this is some of the greatest like Power Ranger fiction that exists, because it is separated enough from the dictates of like a TV Y7 rating to dive into some of the darker aspects of the show's concepts and be more like some of the Super Sentai runs that explored a little bit darker of themes than we got here stateside. So this would kind of be my first knee-jerk reaction. If you want something that feels Super Sentai and you've been reluctant to pick up Power Rangers because you feel like the Americanization is kind of dilutes the brand a little bit, rest assured that there's some really good storytelling in here, some exciting moments, and some actually rather mature, deeper themes than you would normally see in the Power Rangers franchise. My second recommendation would be Radiant Black. This is set in the Massiveverse, which is the kind of microcosm comic book continuity that Kyle Higgins went and made after his run on Power Rangers. Every title in the Massiveverse is something that would appeal to a tokusatsu fan. In fact, I've got some others here to talk about, but Radiant Black is most closely tied to Super Sentai in having characters who transform into different color suits. They all have individual powers. They work as a team in most cases, but there is a lot more mature themes in, not with violence necessarily or with language, although that is the case as well, but more with just the interpersonal relationships between the different characters. They don't always get along. They don't always know what to do. They're coming into their powers completely ignorant of what those powers entail or where they come from. I just finished reading Volume 6, and this concluded the Cataclysm War, which had some really big ramifications for the overall universe at large and really upped the stakes. Some really complicated ideas in here, dealing with like multiple timelines and different versions of characters, all really compelling stuff. And again, all set to the backdrop of a superhero team that transforms into this color-coded group. Although, again, there's less of a cohesion as you would maybe see in a Super Sentai title. But if you want something with a little bit more bite to it, something with more challenging ideas, and always gorgeous art, you would do very well to pick up Radiant Black. It is one of my favorite comics, and probably my favorite thing to read out of the Massiveverse, which is already just an amazing group of comics. So check it out if you're looking for something in that vein. And while you're at it, check out Inferno Girl Red and Rogue Sun. These are some of the other titles in the Massiveverse. Both of these, I feel, strike me more as Kamen Rider-esque in tone, where you have the single hero. Rogue Sun is probably closer to maybe the classic Kamen Rider formula or feeling. Also a little bit of like Buffy in here, because he is fighting against supernatural threats, and so it has that kind of angle. It's really good to read around Halloween time. I was reading this last month, and it just felt right at home when he's going after vampire werewolves and witches. It's just a lot of fun. Inferno Girl Red only has one volume out right now, but the character shows up in a lot of the Massiveverse crossovers, and this one's squarely in that Kamen Rider vibe, set in space mostly, dealing with another character coming into her power, figuring out how to navigate that. Things like rider kicks and stuff like that are mainstay here. Really great stuff. Check out everything in the Masterverse, but these are 2 more titles that I think are a lot of fun. Next up, from Japan, we have Go Go Loser Ranger, which is the story less about the Super Sentai team and more about the monsters that fight against them. In this comic, we are following one of the mooks, the putties or piranhatrons. In this case, they're called fighters, so we're following Fighter D. As he tries to go against the Dragon Rangers, I believe they're called, Dragon Keepers, and he is trying to get all of their mystical artifacts to take away their power and restore the world to specifically his control. It gets really messy toward the middle parts of what's been released so far, but it is a wild ride and definitely something that is taking the conventions of Super Sentai, turning them on their heads, having you follow someone and identify with someone who is kind of out for themselves and motivated mostly by like petty revenge, but against people who are completely reprehensible, all in this backdrop of a world in which a Super Sentai team exists that, from what I can tell, first existed as a television show and have now kind of like co-opt technology to more or less take over the world and keep people in line by perpetuating a never-ending war against the monsters that have already been defeated. It's really weird and a crazy take on the formula, but definitely if you're a fan of Super Sentai, if you're a fan of tokusatsu, you're going to find a lot of enjoyment in this. And it's just something that is very different from what you would normally expect from that kind of material. Speaking of unexpected titles, I also want to recommend Tokyo Fear's Rhapsody. So this follows a monster who was created to destroy mankind, but finds out that he actually kind of likes human culture, loves ice cream, loves stuffed animals. Humanity is great. And so he just wants to kind of live a normal life and not murder and kill everybody. This is a comedy series, which is mostly predicated on him, the main character, trying to pass himself off as human and try to avoid his creator, and getting involved in these fights against other monsters that are sent to destroy the world, because again, he loves human society, he loves human culture, so of course he's going to step in and fight the monsters that are now coming to destroy us. There is a Super Sentai styled team in here that fights against him. They are kind of terrible, and that's really pretty funny. And he loves them. Like, he idolizes this horrible Super Sentai team, just because they're cool, they're heroes, they're there doing their best and helping humanity, and he's all about that. So it's just a lot of fun. Only 1 volume is out as far as I know. Volume 2's out. I'm going to grab it. I had a lot of fun with this. This really felt to me when I read it like something that was designed specifically with me in mind. It's just a lot of fun, really humorous, playing on the tropes of Super Sentai and like kaiju monster kind of stories. So really great. You should check it out.
Volume 2 came out October 21st.
Volume 2's out! Next time we're at Kinokuniya, I'm going to grab it. My last recommendation for today is Henshin. This is part of the Saturday AM comic line, which seems to be mostly centered around like tokusatsu, Saturday morning cartoon-esque stories. These are all originally webtoons that have been collected. Again, I'm not sure if a volume 2 is out. Our Kinokuniya only seems to ever stock volume 1. But it's a lot of fun. Again, this is probably closer to a Kamen Rider because you have your principal character, you have a dark version of him, so maybe Kamen Rider or Android Kakaider, but it's another really fun one full of like nostalgic beats. He definitely has like the rider kick aspect, and we're definitely aping on that formula, but in a way that is genuine and authentic. I like the kind of rounded art style here of the characters, and just kind of gives you that feeling of like if we had taken a anime and kind of Americanized it, which is exactly what happened, right? We're taking a Japanese property, releasing it stateside. It has those qualities to it, and I really enjoyed Volume 1, and I don't see anybody talking about it, so this is my chance. Check out Henshin. It was a lot of fun. Pretty straightforward plot. Nothing surprising or genre pushing, genre defying in here. But if you just want something that's like, a comfort food, a comfort read, pick up Henshin. It's great. And that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for coming by and listening to me ramble about Super Sentai stuff. I love Power Rangers, Super Sentai, tokusatsu. I am both a little disheartened, but also cautiously optimistic about the future of Toku. I'm kind of hoping they bring back Metal Heroes, in all honesty. And from what I've heard, the rumor mill of the next season is something like detective themed and a smaller team. So hopefully that works out. So even if we're not getting Super Sentai in 2026, we're still getting a show, and it's still going to be something that's very much in the wheelhouse of tokusatsu, Metal Heroes, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider. So I look forward to it and figuring out what the next step in this journey is. So again, thanks for coming by. I hope your reading journey is going well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow this corner of our BookTube community. Let me know down in the comments, what have you read that you felt was Toku inspired, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, anything that wasn't on my list that you would recommend. Definitely want to check it out. And until the next one, take care.